In style, skill, and personality, there has never been and will never be a boxer quite as astonishing as the greatest, Muhammad Ali. Ali's boxing was mesmerizing, drawing in massive crowds and infuriating his unfortunate opponents. He did things that simply should not have worked and made them look easy. As with his politics and personality, Ali's boxing method was uncompromising, brave, and indisputably brilliant. So many tactics, advanced components honed over years, made up a style that was both brutal and tasteful, completely unique but seamless and well built. Every bizarre technique is a stepping stone to the next. And his magnum opus, most will agree, was his near-flawless 3-round victory over Cleveland Big Cat Williams, his 6th opponent since taking the championship. Muhammad would put on display every component of his skill set, serving as an impromptu lesson in how to float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. So let's take a close look at how the culmination of these techniques all came together. Flashy as always, Ali danced before the fight, revealing what would become a signature element of not only this fight, but his entire style. The bell rang and the butterfly floated around the ring. The greatest was a man of extremes, and his footwork was no different. As he danced, he alternated between an extremely narrow and extremely open stance. The narrow stance kept him closed off, protected, and safe. The wide stance left him very open and vulnerable. However, he could more easily dart to either side in an instant. From his narrow stance, Ali could lean far back to evade punches. His distance control was incredible, almost superhuman. He could even turn his chin to allow punches to just skim past his cheek. From his open lateral position, he could duck side to side, even changing to southpaw to strafe away. All of this was meant to get Williams tired, frustrated, and overreaching with his punches. Muhammad was so good that he could feint attacks to bait punches, just to evade them. It's hard to imagine just how infuriating this must have felt as his opponent. Seeing a man break every single fundamental rule of boxing, hands completely down, daring you to even touch him, and you still just can't. After a minute or so, Ali had tapped into the deep rhythm that made up the roots of his entire style. Now that he had found his groove, it was time to go on the attack. From his sideways stance, he shot out jabs, whipping them out from his low guard to smash into Williams' body and head. With his cross step, hop, and deep lean, Ali broke the foundations of traditional boxing. Inspired by watching footage of Sugar Ray Robinson pulling off tap dancing moves in the ring, Ali's interpretation was a more streamlined, but equally thrilling sight to behold. Williams had had enough. He cornered Ali, looking to run him into a body hook as he tried to exit. It was at that moment that Ali unveiled his signature shuffle, rapidly switching stances to smoothly step out into a hard body jab. He followed with a whirling hook that still beat Cleveland's right, then fitted in a tight check hook, smashing it into Williams as he tried to close the distance. Although it looked flashy for the sake of flash, Ali's shuffle had made Williams pause for a split second. The shuffle provided endless possibilities, and as Ali had told Tyson's coach, Cus D'Amato, his opponents had no idea what he was about to do when he used it. Ali resumed his dance of death, lashing out with his jab and lead hook from all angles to pierce Williams' guard, his lead hand fencing like a rapier, whirling around, edging in between, rising up from underneath, knifing out like a back fist. Each time Ali got close, he would pin Williams' elbow. It was advanced tactics like these that allowed Ali to keep his hands low and his chin proudly lifted in defiance of tradition. Insane head movement played a role as well. Ali expertly found openings to target in the blink of an eye. And when there wasn't one, he tore apart Williams' guard to make one. Ali displayed his bizarre footwork once again, mostly targeting the body. He backed off, then decided he wasn't done yet, wrapping Williams' head before exiting from southpaw. For the last 30 seconds of the round, Ali went back to dancing, picking Williams apart from long range. As bad as Ali was making Williams look, in the second he briefly reminded everyone why he deserved to be fighting the champion. The big cat swatted Ali with a tight hook, then potted him with a well-timed jab. Ali check-hooked, but Williams' right fired right back with a clubbing counter, but Ali expertly pulled, leaning far back to let the punch breeze right past from southpaw. He then stepped back to orthodox to keep dancing. But Cleveland landed another heavy jab, and Ali had had enough. He lowered his hands and stood squared up right in front of him, daring Williams to hit him. When he tried, Ali weaved back and forth in a figure eight. Sometimes the best tactic is to just reset, and by doubling down and taking more risks, Ali had rocked Cleveland's confidence. From there it was smooth sailing. Ali picked away with his jab, and performed his signature shuffle. This time, Williams attacked. Ali slipped with the shuffle, as if he knew which punch Cleveland was about to throw, then strafed away, framing from southpaw as he did. Williams gave chase, and Ali stopped short, running Cleveland into a 1-2-3 like the start of a classic rock song. Now Williams charged, furious, and Ali retorted while moving backwards. Both men grew more aggressive, one out of desperation, the other because it was working. Ali repeated the same feat, knocking Williams down with an almost casual retreating right. Williams got up and did a decent job defending, calmly blocking and slipping. But Ali could pick up on openings in a split second and angle his punches to take advantage. He circumvented his competitor's guard and ran Williams into a stunning shovel hook. Williams went down again, but perhaps the big cat did have 9 lives. Showing great heart, he rose and bravely went on the attack. Ali seemed to take this personally, laying his hands upon Cleveland with great vengeance and furious anger. Ali pierced through, tore down, obliterated his guard to slam in one final right. Or so it might have been. But the bell sounded the end of the round, and Williams had a full minute to recover. The break must have felt all too brief for Williams. The two rose and heard what would turn out to be the final bell of the fight. In round 3, Ali displayed the last piece of the puzzle and perhaps the most powerful element of his style: his risky but earth-shaking counters. The two heavyweights met mid-ring. Williams gave chase, and Ali just avoided a reaching jab by turning his head away at the last moment. With Williams overextended, Ali drove home a long lead hook behind his ear. Williams tried once more, and once more, Ali turned his chin away in the nick of time. A moment later, the same counter missed, but his follow-ups hit home. And now Williams was all but done, and Ali unleashed his full potential, shining with the brilliance of boxing's brightest star, his performance echoing across generations to inspire future greats like Hearns, Leonard, Holmes, and Iron Mike Tyson, who would see this as Ali's most influential and brilliant performance. Cleveland Williams had dealt with a lot of trials in his life, but he had fought his very hardest and could not be faulted for falling so quickly against Ali at the height of his prime. Nonetheless, the fight had been a beautiful symphony of violence that built up in intensity until crescendoing with the final display of skill and dominance. We have a Discord now, so if you'd like to discuss this or any other bouts, real or fantasy fights, boxing, MMA, Muay Thai, whatever, or if you just want to talk shop about training, I'll be there in voice chat for an hour or two after this video goes live and throughout the day. So make sure to like and subscribe and then head on over. From the Modern Martial Artist, this has been David Christian, wishing you happy training.